The drama surrounding the Texas National Guard kicking out the feckless border control is intensifying. You see, Texas leadership finally gave the boot to this agency, in part because they were purportedly sabotaging defensive measures like cutting razor wire put in place by Texas to keep the hordes of illegal immigrants from swarming into the USA. The Texas Army National Guard constructed a portable command post in Shelby Park, a known hotspot for illegal immigration, and reinforced the area with concertina wire and anti-climb barriers to decrease the activity of human smugglers, drug traffickers, and other criminal trespassers. Now, when the Border Patrol tried to enter under the guise of responding to a distress call, Texas officials physically barred the agents from entering the park. And now the feds are crying foul and have already appealed to the Supreme Court. But deciding that wasn't enough, they upped the ante, sending a cease and desist demand to the state of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, saying that Texas had impeded operations and are acting unconstitutionally, and it cited deaths near the city park in Eagle Pass, where state authorities had erected the fencing. As CNN reported, the Department of Homeland Security warns it will, by the end of Wednesday, refer to the matter to the Department of Justice for appropriate action and consider all other options available to restore Border Patrol's access to the border. If Texas doesn't confirm, it will cease and desist its efforts to block Border Patrol's access in and around the Shelby Park area and remove all barriers to access to the U.S.-Mexico border. The letter went on to state that Texas's failure to provide access to the border persists even in instances of imminent danger to life and safety, and went on to say that Texas has demonstrated that even in the most exigent circumstances, it will not allow Border Patrol access to the border to conduct law enforcement and emergency response activities. Now, if you checked your calendar, my friends, you will notice that Wednesday has now come and gone. So, what's the outcome of all of this? Well, Attorney General Paxton told the federal government to pound sand, saying that Texas will not surrender. Paxton is defending the state's actions, asserting that Texas has the constitutional authority to defend its territory and that he will continue to uphold these efforts in court. He also suggested that the DHS should focus on enforcing existing immigration laws rather than suing Texas. Now, Paxton further stated that Texas is still continuing to allow U.S. Border Patrol to use the Shelby Park boat ramp for emergency medical care when needed, and pointed out that federal agents only informed Texas of the emergency situation in question after it had already occurred, meaning that they, the feds, are only using the story as a way to undermine the state. Paxton would call the claims that Texas was responsible for the drowning of the 3 illegal aliens as vile and completely inaccurate, and stated that any suggestion that the state was responsible for the deaths is incorrect. You see, on the night of the drownings, Border Patrol agents learned that 6 illegal immigrants were in distress as they attempted to cross the Rio Grande. The claim is that the federal agents tried to contact Texas state officials about the emergency by phone, but were unsuccessful. And so, when Border Patrol agents went to Shelby Park to request access to render aid to the migrants, they were denied entry by Texas Military Department soldiers. The outcome to this story was that 3 of the illegal aliens, a woman and 2 children, were later recovered by Mexican authorities. Now, aside from Attorney General Ken Paxton's response to the feds, Texas Governor Abbott also got involved and has defended the state's actions, stating that the state will not allow Border Patrol on the property anymore. He has expressed outrage over the swarm of illegal immigrants entering through Eagle Pass and the federal agents' seeming inability to stop them. As the governor stated, "We said we've had it. We're not going to let this happen anymore," indicating that Texas will not back down from blocking Border Patrol access. And so, in response to Texas ignoring the cease and desist letter, the Department of Homeland Security has threatened to refer the matter to the Justice Department for appropriate action. And the Biden administration has also filed an injunction seeking to have the Supreme Court rule on this issue. And what do you suppose the Texas National Guard is doing while they maintain control over this part of the border? If you guessed that they are arresting illegal aliens, then you would be correct. As reported by the WBAL-TV, they said that Texas authorities arrested migrants at Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, Texas, late Wednesday evening and charged them with criminal trespassing, marking the first arrests of migrants since the state took control of the area at the U.S.-Mexico border last week. The arrests were announced by Lieutenant Chris Olivares at the Texas Department of Public Safety on social media, where he also posted videos on Twitter X showing migrants being handcuffed and taken away by authorities. Single adult women and men were taken into state custody, while migrant families and children were transferred to U.S. Border Patrol. As the lieutenant said, the state of Texas will maintain a proactive posture in curbing illegal border crossings between the ports of entry. Migrants arrested for criminal trespassing first face the state charge before they are transferred to U.S. Border Patrol officials. Now, the arrests took place at Shelby Park and private lands, where the landowners would grant the state authority to make these arrests. And so the fight is going on. This flashpoint is an important moment in modern U.S. history. This country is being flooded with non-citizens by the millions. Illegal aliens crossing into America is now at greater numbers than American citizens born here. This is how civilizations are destroyed. History shows us time and again that mass migration of non-citizens will lead to destruction of the society being invaded. And make no mistake, my friends, this is precisely what is happening here. The country you grew up in, for those of you watching here in the US, will change faster than you can possibly imagine if something drastic isn't done. The end of this country as we know it is nigh, if nothing changes. You know it's bad when even deep left-leaning show leader from The Breakfast Club's Charlemagne the God is speaking out about the growing crisis. During an interview with Fox News, Charlemagne acknowledged that people are really concerned about this issue and cited the distress people are feeling over the MS-13 gang overrunning neighborhoods, as well as New York City kicking out students and using a school as a housing center for 2,000 migrants. This crisis at the border will be a make-or-break issue for this country. Whether we remain a country that is at its core a land of the free or something much, much darker, well, only time is going to tell. But it all boils down to what happens next. And rest assured on this channel, we will certainly be keeping an eye on developments. And that, my friends, will bring our episode to a close once more. From the To Be Frank Show, I am Adrian. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.